Okay, right, so let's watch this video that set the internet ablaze today.
Pay us enough not to do this. If you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. There goes your inventory.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory what happened in the video. Right, so I'm reading this from the news. A suspect has been arrested and charged following the fire at Kimberly-Clark's toilet paper warehouse in Ontario, California. The fire caused approximately $500 million in damage to the 2 million square foot warehouse per the DA's office. Okay, so what you're telling me is you are a company dealing with high flammable items that you're selling and transporting. This warehouse is huge, okay? Worth around $500 million, and you did not think to put like a system at place to prevent any sort of fires, like any sort of anti fire systems for a highly flammable material. Okay. Honestly, if you ask me, this seems like a very bad way to deal business. It really seems like something ghetto you would see from like Eastern Europe or Turkey, where you have all this profit, right? And let's say you wanted to secure your profit, you would have to give like what, a couple of $1,000 to put sprinklers in your warehouse so that your highly flammable product doesn't go boom, right? Okay, so they didn't do that. And like I said, this is not Eastern Europe, this is California, the like 6th best economic powerhouse country in the world. Really, like, was it actually worth it? Was it worth cheapening out on a couple of $1,000? I mean, when you're, like I said, when you're dealing with, I'm gonna like put this number all over the video. When you're dealing with like $500 million, you would think that a couple of $1,000 to secure those $500 million would be like, I don't know, a well-spent freaking safety measure, right? No, apparently not. Like, let's squeeze everything. Let's squeeze, like, I don't know how much. I don't want to say a number like 2,000, 10,000. I don't know. Like, I'm not, equipped for this type of prospection, or what do you call it? But really, to cheap out on like 0.01% of your profit to secure it, to be like, okay, whatever happens, we will have, safety measures. But no, apparently the shareholders needed, I don't know, to buy chips. Okay, so for them this is the price of a chip on a plane or a fifth yacht, I don't know. It further alleges that he made more statements on the phone and via text message, admitting to setting the blaze. I just cost those mother effers billions, and 1% is a effing joke. You see, billionaires are kind of stupid, as the Romans used to say, give the people bread and circus and they will never rebel. I mean, look at Eastern Europe. After the Berlin Wall fell, their countries basically got, destroyed. Do you think they're gonna like rebel? I don't know, they live in such horrible conditions? No, they got bread, which is like GMO, cancer-inducing, everything that's like bad with the world, and like a cheap, some sort of circus that, they have on their TV. Besides Slovenia, yeah, do you think these people will ever rebel, ever build a good future? No. So, I mean, okay, Eastern Europe aside, it's applicable for United States as well, any country, actually. Yeah, this is just a joke, and America is becoming like Eastern Europe, where they're so desensitized to anything, or everything. I'm doing this after a couple of days of, this story coming out, because I don't want to jump the gun, and, we see these lesser rebellious type of actions, this isn't really a shock to me. This isn't really a surprise. This is something that I would say people should expect in the near future because of such large gaps between, the wealthy and the poor. And I'm sorry, I have to add this like saltiness. I'm surprised how stupid the billionaires are. Like, you would think if, your daddy paid the best spot for, all these prestigious universities like Harvard, MIT, Brown, whatever, all these Ivy Leagues, you would learn the basics, right? This is like fifth grade in my country. I find it funny that they waste all these monies, because let's face it, they do not get in college because they're smart or anything. They get it because their parents paid and stuff like that, or the legacy acceptance. And yet all of that money, all of that best universities, best professors, and you're still that dumb. Like, I feel like maybe like me or like other like common folks who are a bit more intelligent or whatever, if we got the chance, to go to Harvard, to go to Brown or whatever, I feel like we would like create a cure for cancer. Because like, what I'm saying? Like, you're not giving the real people who maybe should get these scholarships or spots. At the end of the day, you're giving them to, those people who are probably never going to use that degree. They just like pay some hedge fund manager or whatever, those like people who do their stocks. It's truly funny. Like, I guarantee you, like, if a basic person goes to Harvard, he will invent like a cure for cancer. And then like these billionaires, they're so fucking dumb, they don't even like grasp the fifth grade level of history. Also, since these fascists are so obsessed with like Roman Empire and stuff like that, you would think that they know like the basics of Rome, because this was the basics of Rome, right? Rome wasn't a nice place. You give them, circus, you give them bread and gladiators and shows, and people who not like rebel. Yeah, y'all don't even like know what you're like. I don't want to say support, but like you're hailing a system, glorifying it, and y'all don't even like know the ropes of it. Anyways, let's continue. So he also allegedly said, all you had to do was pay us enough to live. Pay us more of the value we bring, not corporate. Didn't see shareholders picking up a shift. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna leave this here.
What I appreciate most about the man in the warehouse is that even in his act of desperation, because it wasn't an act of violence, because nobody was hurt, nobody was intended to be hurt, he said, all you have to do is pay us a livable wage. He's still thinking about everybody, even like people other than just himself, because he knows that if they won't pay me a livable wage, they won't pay you a livable wage.
And this is something that's very personal to me, because I also work for corporations, and this is something that's very personal to me. Like, I also work for a corporation. You make them millions of dollars, they pay you pennies. And then, we relate to these types of people. We see these people like Luigi, and simply, I guess the public has no choice but to wake up. People are more aware of the injustices and the basic slavery that this system is. I mean, at this point, people don't really have bread or circus. So, the fire occurred shortly after 12:30 a.m. on Tuesday, April 7th. Approximately 175 firefighters and 15 truck companies responded to 6 truck companies. Aren't they like government firefighters? I don't even know. But wow, that's a lot of people trying to de-escalate the situation. I would also like to add something to the sauce. Okay, so a part of not investing in a good fire system, why wouldn't you pay your workers fairly? I mean, like I said, $500 million. That's a lot of money. Also, you've cheaped out on the like fire hazard equipment. So I found an information. There is in California, a warehouse worker earns 30K a year. Okay, so 30K a year, and these people have a warehouse worth of $500 million. Okay, so 33K. I bet you if you give these people double the wage, okay, if you give them 60K, they would be more than happy to work for you, and that's literally nothing. Like I said, even if you give them like $100,000, you know what I'm saying, $500 million. Now I know some like bootlicker is gonna say, oh, but you have to pay the cost of transport, and you have to. I know, but first of all, that's my job. Second of all, it's not that much money. Okay, it's not that much money. They literally can't afford to pay a warehouse employee. I mean, if I was like a greedy, you know, person like they are, I don't want to throw too many. I would pay them double. I mean, if other warehouse employees get 30K, I would give my employees 60K, right? So I would have loyalty. They would be happier. Realistically, like, you can pay them $100,000, if not more. I'm not an economist. I'm not an economist. I'm not an economist. There we go. I'm not an economist. Okay, I'm not an economist. Okay, I did not have a bachelor's in economics, but from the math that I did, I think you can easily give them a bigger wage. Okay, and the funny thing is, you would not even feel a dent. These like shareholders, billionaires, they wouldn't even feel the dent in their profit. Okay, so the worker's name is Chamel, and he is probably going to face 20 years in jail for this offense, which is like, according to what I found, the biggest amount of years you can spend for this kind of offense, and they're probably going to give him the biggest type of offense. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's white, so they'll probably play into it. Chamel, right? It's a pretty ethnic name, so it's not a John or a Tom. So that's probably going to be against him as well. I think it's funny. I need to read something to you, something that I found. Okay, so a manslaughter is when you kill someone and the love the notes that I said for myself. So for manslaughter in the USA, the punishment is from 4 to 15 years. Okay, so it would be much easier if this dude just like unalived someone. He would have a lesser sentence. When you put in the context, like, it's insane. I mean, all this over toilet paper. At the end of the day, over toilet paper, which is something that people can live without, basically. I mean, you know. Let's see what else. I think I had like a rapist. No, I didn't. I couldn't find the information about like proper information about molestation, and basically what I was trying to find is, I think depends on the crime. Even people who have raped a victim have a lesser sentence. And if you attempted the rape, I think your punishment could be 4 years. So, you know, I just think it's funny how it's much more, I don't know, the punishment is like less to rape someone, to kill someone, and, you know, like, this has no fatalities. There were no killings in the warehouse. And also, since I'm making this video a bit later, I would not take this as a source, but on TikTok people are saying that he might face life imprisonment. Life imprisonment, yet you can easily rape someone, kill someone, and on good behavior, you're gonna get out in like less than 10 years. Also, chomos, diddling children as well. That is something, isn't it?